Welcome to the I Am Different series. If you've been around our program long enough, you notice that there's something different. I Am Third is not the world's way of doing things. In fact, as college basketball moves towards a me first narrative, we are doubling down on I Am Third. We want to take you behind the scenes and show you some of our former players who are doing big things in our world through I Am Third in the game of basketball. It's God first, others second, yourself third. The unique and cool thing about it is if you have that perspective, it comes back around to benefit you.
Let's have it for the national champ! For the national champ! For the national champ! Unbelievable!
IWU Hoops presents The Pursuit. Go inside the locker room as IWU Hoops trades the pursuit of me for the pursuit of three.
Welcome to another episode of the Pursuit Podcast. I'm Jeff Clark, the Associate Head Basketball Coach, and I'm joined by Jonny Marlin, who is going into the Hall of Honor at Indiana Wesleyan in September. Tell me, what was that like to hear that news, Jonny?
I was definitely caught off guard a little bit, but it was such a great honor, and I still remember Coach T calling me and saying that, and so just really excited just because I know just the quality of people that's been through Indiana Wesleyan.
And obviously, huge honor, says a lot about who you were as a player. But I want to go back to when you decided to come to Indiana Wesleyan, because you were at Indiana University. Mm-hmm. You'd been at another Division I school before that where you were starting. So you'd kind of experienced the whole thing. You're playing in front of 17,000 people at Assembly Hall. You're starting at another Division I, and you came to Indiana Wesleyan. What led you to come to us at that time?
Yeah, after each season, I would pray and just ask, like, Lord, is this where you want me? And just felt a calling that I was not supposed to be at Indiana University anymore. And I was a little confused. I really enjoyed the school, made a lot of friends, had a lot of friends from high school as well. But there was something that was just inside that I knew that the Lord wanted me elsewhere. And so, honestly, it was pretty much Indiana Wesleyan from the start. There was a visit that you had after I transferred from IPFW that really put Indiana Wesleyan on the map. And so once I felt like the Lord wanted me elsewhere, then it's, all right, Lord, like, where do you want me to go? And he just kept drawing me back to that conversation. And so I really didn't even take a visit, which is crazy. I simply just knew that this is where the Lord wanted me. And I can say with a fair amount of confidence, that was the best 2 years of my life.
Talk more about that. What made Indiana Wesleyan different?
It is from day one, honestly. I felt like people were more passionate about who I was as a person and seeing growth spiritually than anything else. And so it wasn't just about how many wins can you bring to our program or even national championships. It was really a different mentality about how the staff and even how the other players loved you. And so that was different, I think, from an experience standpoint. There was things that we did that most other programs I probably have never done. My first year, we went to the DR on a mission trip, and I just don't see very many programs doing that. And so that kind of set the tone and just the culture of really those 2 years, as my first interaction was, we're going to go serve some people that never get served. And so,
So go a little more to the culture. You mentioned that word just briefly, but obviously we talk a lot about I Am Third and Fearless. Mm-hmm. Just as you look back, describe what that was for you for those 2 years to be inside that culture, and how that come to life in your own life.
Yeah, sports in general is just about what can I do for myself? Like, what glory can I bring on, for me? And the I Am Third attitude is, let's shift this. How can I make others around me better? So how can I love them well? How can I serve them well? What will elevate them to a higher place? And so it's pretty special when you get a group of coaches, and whether it's 12 or 15 guys on a team that are looking to serve one another, looking to make others better, looking to elevate them. You almost can't help but just fall in line and and go with that. And it's something that it's hard to be created, and it's hard to even express, but when you're in that, you definitely feel it.
Let's talk more about the people, because you've obviously played with a lot of high-level players in a lot of different environments, but also I see now you're building a growing company. A lot of Indiana Wesleyan players are around now, and in your wedding you have coaches who are helping officiate your wedding and are involved, and you just built some special relationship. What was different about the type of people that you encountered while you were at Indiana Wesleyan?
Yeah, it's honestly, it's kind of rare that I don't talk to you or Coach T or Ethan Whaley really on a weekly or bi-weekly basis. And I would think that's true of not just myself, but of other people that have been in the program, where you still have that relationship, because it always was more than basketball. Because if it was just about basketball, I think that friendship would have ended a long time ago when I played my last game, and that wasn't the case.
Remember the morning of the national championship game, your senior year, you called a prayer meeting with all the dads, and it was one of the greatest moments in our program history. But I remember you saying that morning, I always thought my dream was to play in front of 17,000 people at Assembly Hall. And I got to experience that. But this is my dream, to be in a room with teammates I love, playing for a national championship and praying with my dad in this group. Man, this is what I have always wanted. Talk more about just that contrast of what you got at Indiana Wesleyan that you might not have been able to find anywhere else.
Yeah, I don't think I would have found that anywhere else. As a kid, you dream of winning a national championship and hitting a game-winning shot, and those things that are really good things. But no movie really portrays, in a room, people you love, with your dad praying, and going after something. Because as great as winning a national championship, as great as that was, and I know the hard work that was put into it, it still does not compare to the spiritual growth that was experienced, the relationships that were gained, and so it was pretty special that I was able to experience both of those. But it wouldn't really be a comparison, because I would choose this side. 10 times out of 10.
And now you're leading a growing business, both in the basketball but athletic performance world, Marlin Academy. So you experienced basketball at a high level before you came to Indiana Wesleyan. Now you're growing this business, and you're adding employees all the time, and you're training people from pros all the way down to youth. How's the I Am Third culture influenced how you're leading your business right now?
For sure. It's something where we are trying to make others better. And so as a leader or as the boss or whatever, it's like, how can I serve others? And I think once that mentality is set, then something special starts to happen. So we've been able to grow and have worldly success, but like at the core of it is like, man, we've had stories that kids getting baptized. We've had stories of people accepting Jesus. We just got back from Harlem on a missions trip there, to where we got to serve and be with kids that have never experienced a basketball camp. And so I think when your focus is not necessarily on status or dollars or whatever, you can do some really cool things. And it's just funny how the Lord works, to where you can get both in a way.
So, final question, just if you think about this concept in general, I am different. When you think about Indiana Wesleyan in the basketball world as a whole, if you were meeting someone for the first time and they said, hey, you played at Indiana Wesleyan, what makes that place different? How would you respond to that?
I'd probably laugh and just say there's a lot of things different. I think it's different because when you're at the highest level, like Indiana Wesleyan is and has been for a long time, but then when you look at how they got there, I think it's drastically different because I think that they play a fun brand of basketball, which many other teams do. I think that they, get after it defensively, which many other teams do. And so I think there's a lot of similarities that exist, but things that are truly different is just what things are praised and what things are looked upon. I remember many times after a game that the shout-outs that the coaches are giving are about the guy who took a charge, the guy who set 7 screens in one possession, knowing that like scoring points is ultimately what wins games or whatever, but there's little things that go into it. But if that's the culture of those little things that goes into it, then there's also praise that's going to be given for guys that gather a group to watch the NBA Finals and guys that bring unity, and there's going to be praise that's given to a guy who starts a prayer unit or something like that. And so I think that's there's a lot of difference in that. When you look at the staff, I think everyone wants to win, and that would be kind of silly for me not to think that. But I believe that when they look back on a season, it's not a successful season if a national championship is had or if it's not had. A successful season is, did we grow spiritually as a team? And did we put kids in a position to ultimately thrive as sons, as brothers, as husbands one day? And so I think that's different.
Well, Jonny, national champ, All-American, soon-to-be Hall of Honor member, but more than anything, we're just proud of the way you're leading an I Am Third life now and building a culture in your business. So thanks for joining us, sharing about what makes Indiana Wesleyan difference, and really appreciate you, man.
Thank you.